I was the sort of podgy kid who never got picked for the football team. I hated cross country. I had flat feet. I was told by the doctor, you know, age 12, whatever, I'd never be a runner. I've run several marathons. Since then I've run a few ultra marathons. Never really got into the sort of conventional team stuff. I did a bit of cycling. I got into mountain biking and then got into racing on the road, that kind of thing. So I suppose that's where the solitary endurance element came from.
Please give a very, very warm welcome to Ben Saunders.
Yeah, the good news, well, it's Friday afternoon. The good news is that I'm not a scientist, I'm not an ologist. I just drag heavy things around cold places. So there are no graphs, no charts, no correlations, no extrapolations. I'm just going to show you my holiday snaps from this spring and tell you a few stories. My first expedition came together in the spring of 2001. It was with a guy called Penn Haddow, enormously experienced Arctic expert. We had communication problems. This was a homemade tent, single skin tent. You can see 2 ski poles coming out of the roof. That was our radio antenna. We had no satellite phone. We had HF radio. Physically, I was a wreck. I absolutely exhausted. We'd misjudged the nutrition. I'd lost a lot of weight. Mentally, completely spaced out. Convinced I was a failure. But I knew if I wanted to get back in one piece, let alone to stand any chance of making it across, I had to take a pretty radical approach. This meant everything from perfecting the sub-2-gram sawn-off toothbrush to working with one of the world's leading nutritionists in developing from scratch a completely new nutritional strategy. We stopped looking at what expeditions had done before. We looked instead at what people like Tour de France cyclists, ultramarathon runners, and ultimately doctors treating cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy. The first bit was quite sensible, British Airways to Moscow. From Moscow to Krasnoyarsk was via an internal Russian airline called Crash Air, KRAS. The next bit, flight from Krasnoyarsk up to the town there that's so small it's not even on the map, called Katanga. Finally, on the morning of day 11, we got the all clear. We had a mad last few hours packing all the kit into these old army trucks, driving to the airstrip, load the helicopters, landed on the ice, and then wham. Door closed. That was the last photograph the photographer took of me, and I was alone.
It's a very strange feeling, like being an astronaut, I suppose, in that it's an environment where, without the right equipment, you'd be dead very quickly indeed, and yet I can live out there for months at a time on the contents of this sledge I'm putting behind me. It's an incredible feeling of being completely self-sufficient, completely self-contained little unit. And it also makes you realise how little you need to, to survive, and actually that the things that matter generally aren't material things.
There were times when the weather closed in. This is called whiteout, where you get very low cloud. There's no distinction between the sky and the snow.
So it's day 22. Lying in the tent, getting ready to go. The weather is just appalling. I've drifted back about 5 miles in the last night.
There are incredible sort of internal, mind games, battles going on, and waking up thinking, God, I've had enough of this. I just, if only I could fall over and, break my wrist or sprain an ankle or something that means we can be picked up with my pride intact and say, well, we were going strong. If only this hadn't happened, we'd have made it. So it's incredible, having to battle away with yourself, with your own thoughts. So each day is a challenge, and in many ways, each day I'm out there is a huge success.
There we go. 90. Absolutely slap bang on the North Pole.
I've taken a few photos. I've got my Union Jack. It's a special feeling. The entire planet is rotating beneath my feet. The whole world underneath me. And only from the air did I see the big picture. Of course, when you're on the, I was going to say on the ground, when you're on the ice, you only ever see one obstacle at a time, whether it's a bit of water, whether it's a pressure ridge. From the air, this was where I was picked up from. This was what it was like. NASA predicts there will be no more permanent sea ice by the end of the century. The Arctic Ocean, by the end of the century, in the summer, will be ocean. There will be no ice. This is climate change at work. And this is one of the most profound, lasting impressions, I suppose, I've taken away from it. Here I am. I've spent a quarter of this year living alone in a tent. Been home for 5 months. I'm going to preempt 3 questions.
Why?
I don't know really. It's the hardest question to answer. For me.
You don't even know why?
I've had a few weeks of skiing along to think about it. I haven't come up with a one-liner yet. I think really just challenge. It's one of the biggest challenges I could think of. And going solo and unsupported is one of the purest challenges as well.
What's next? Ooh, a good question. I've got a few plans sort of boiling away in the back of my mind. There'll be definitely another big North Pole expedition, maybe next spring. Of course, there's another pole as well as the South Pole, so maybe down there. Maybe some mountains, who knows? So lots of things.
Will you come and tell us all about it?
Absolutely, yeah, I'd love to.
Excellent stuff.
If I've learned anything through the last 3 years of doing this kind of thing, that no matter how daft, how crazy your goal seems, with enough determination, enough self-belief, anything is possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's my story. Thank you very much.